Interested in making your mosaic crochet patterns reversible? Well, using the standard overlay mosaic crochet technique, you'd normally get something like this with a pattern on one side and lovely stripes on the other. I recently showed you how to use the drop down double crochet method so that you have the pattern on the front and the back just in opposite colours. However, today I'm going to be showing you a slightly different technique. So this one uses a locking stitch rather than a drop down double crochet, and at the end you can decide which you prefer. Let's get started. So as you'd expect, all you require are your yarn in 2 colours, the hook size to match, and a pair of scissors along with your chart. As you can see, I've already scribbled all over this one, and you will see exactly why in a moment. Overlay mosaic crochet is new to you, then please check out this tutorial here which goes over all of the basics and how to read this chart. As you can see, the first 3 rows of the chart have no additional markings. This means that you can work them with standard overlay mosaic crochet, which is exactly what I have done here. Now let's move on to the remaining rows. As you can see, for row 4 there are a number of circles. These are going to represent our locking stitches. You will always find a circle above an X. So the X are our front loop only double crochets, and this is so that we do a longer stitch at the back to make it reversible. Don't forget, when you reach the end of your chart, if we're making it reversibly, you are not finished. There are an extra 2 rows that we need to crochet, so be sure to stay to the end of the tutorial to see how to do those as well. So I have attached my yarn in the usual way to start row 4. And as you can see, it starts with a circle. So this is one of the locking stitches. If it wasn't a locking stitch, it would be a plain box, which means it would be a back loop only single crochet. So because of that, we're going to go through the back loop of the next stitch. We're then going to tip our work forwards and go through the back loop of the cream stitch 2 rows down. So we currently, if I move that out of the way, have 3 loops on the hook. 1 cream, 1 blue, 1 cream. We're then going to yarn over and go through just 1 loop so that we still have 3 stitches on our hook. Yarn over and go through 2 loops, just wiggle it through so that we still have 2 loops now, and then yarn over and go through the final 2 loops. So whilst it might not be completely evident yet, you will see it more clearly as we go along. You have what looks like a single crochet on the front, but is as tall as a double crochet on the back. Let me work a few more of these and then you will see exactly what I mean. I will see you at the end of the row. So at the end of row 4, you can see that we have finished making these little squares which correspond with the little squares on the chart, and it looks like standard overlay mosaic crochet from the front. If we flip it over, you will see that we are starting, she says starting, to make the little squares on the back. This will be much clearer once I have done row number 5, so join me in just a moment to see that. So that locking stitch once more, this time showing you with the blue yarn. Go through the back loop of the next stitch, go through the back loop of the corresponding coloured stitch 2 rows down, yarn over, go through 1 loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, go through 2 loops. I'll see you at the end of row 5. We now have 5 rows done. So as you can see, we have this blue row going above our squares. And if you turn your work over, you can now see that we have created the little squares, and we are just waiting for row 6 to have the line of cream above it. Now I'm going to work the remainder of these 19 rows and then show you how to complete your reversible pattern with those extra 2 rows at the end. Meet me there. Now that I have finished my 19 rows, you can see that it looks beautifully symmetrical on the front with the background in blue and the pattern in cream. However, if you flip it over to the reversible side, where the pattern is in blue and the background is in cream, you will see that it is not symmetrical. So you have your blue squares here at the bottom and at the top here, but they are at the edge. You don't have this row of cream or row of blue in order to make it symmetrical. This is why when we turn back to the front, we are going to add 2 extra rows in order to even that out. So if you go back to your chart, you will see that on the 19th row you have a number of X's, but there are no circles above them because the chart runs out. So for this imaginary row 20, we are going to do a normal row with the circles above the X's and then regular back loop only single crochets above everything else in order to even that out. Then I will show you what to do for row 21. So as you can see, we have now what looks like a row of back loop only single crochet across the top. And if you flip it over, you've now got a matching cream row above and below the last and first row of squares. So we just need to create this extra blue row in order to even it out on both sides and also to hide this cream row on the front. So for this imaginary row 21, we want to make the front side look as close as possible to the first row. And as this was single crochet, we're going to pretend that we're doing a front loop only single crochet. So yes, slightly different to standard overlay mosaic crochet terms. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop as if we're going to do that last stitch. Then in order to avoid us having that flappy bit between this row 21 and the row 20, we're also going to then go through the back loop of the stitch behind. I know it's cream, not blue, they don't match. Pull up a loop so that you have 3 loops on your hook and then yarn over and pull through all 3. I'll just show you that once more. So go through the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop so that there are 2 loops on your hook. Go through the back loop of the single crochet behind, yarn over and pull up a loop so that you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're going to do that all the way across until we do our single crochet at the end. I shall meet you there. Now that we have finished row 21, you can see that it looks lovely and symmetrical again. And if we flip it over, the back looks lovely and symmetrical too. Now for the all important question. If I lay them all out, what do you prefer? Because obviously this is what the front looks like on all of them, obviously with the extra few rows on the reversible ones. But for your backs, do you prefer the standard overlay mosaic crochet of stripes? Do you prefer the drop down double crochet method, which is a bit more textured, I think, and distinct, I would say, in this sample? Or do you prefer the locking stitch method, which is somewhat flatter, probably uses less yarn, and I'd say similar level of detail visible in comparison to the front? So let me know in the comments which you prefer.